with that guy. Once we go to the sideboard, we're going to see Flash Freezes from Jim Davis, extra Day of Judgment most likely, and perhaps Torpor Orb. I'm not sure if you bring in Torpor Orb in this matchup.
Yeah, it's decent against the Titans. It doesn't get their comes into play abilities. I mean, it hits their comes. They don't get their comes into play abilities, but attacking seems gets right around Torpor Orb.
Stopping that first one is pretty good. I believe that's Jim Davis there on the right.
Yes,
and Kenny Meyer on the
yeah.
left.
So
Kenny's ways to interact with the table are minimal. He basically has to put something really, really big.
Jim's playing small blade.
Something really, really big into play. He's got 2 lightning bolts as his only ways to interact and interrupt a Sword of Feast and Famine from doing its work. After sideboarding, he'll have access to Nature's Claim. Get the first start preordained from Jim Davis. So normally the question about Valakut versus Caw-Blade, who wins, often boils down to how is Valakut built. Do you think that the summoning traps are going to be a real deciding factor in this match?
I mean, with 8 Titans and I mean, the Oracles are there, but obviously you don't want to trap into an Oracle as much as you want to trap into a Titan. I feel like, I don't know, you have a lot better chance of not whiffing on those summoning traps, so I think that they're going to be relevant.
Raging Ravine is answered by the first Squadron Hawk. Caw-caw! We've got 2 caws picked up from the first Squadron Hawk.
For those of you who may be just joining us, I'm Joey Pasco here in the booth with Adrian Sullivan, covering the Star City Games Open Series here in Boston. This is the standard portion, of course. Well, the standard Open Series always on Saturday, and then tomorrow we've got Legacy.
I believe we have 9 rounds. It might be 10 rounds, in fact.
Yeah, I haven't heard.
10 whole rounds. That's what you get when you have 499 people playing. You get 10 rounds of Magic. I would not be surprised to see a lot of these decks doing well in the event.
Is that an Evolving Wilds I think he just added to the board?
That is a glare-covered card.
Yeah, he played Explore, and then I think just an Evolving Wilds, I'm pretty sure.
I will trust you on this one.
Yeah,
you are the art master.
Very quickly, but yeah, right now I can't see it. You saw it before it had so much of a glare. So Jim swings with the Hawk.
I would not be surprised to see another Hawk joining the table. Also, though, setting up and holding back a Mana Leak for the threat of Oracle of Moldiah is reasonable. However, Mana Leak, it's always a little frightening when you don't know what your Valakut opponent's playing. If you go Mana Leak on one of their creatures and they Summoning Trap. Jim Davis has 2 Spell Pierces, so he's not totally dead to a Summoning Trap should that happen in the coming turn.
That's true. So he's trying to just decide what his land drop is. So he goes with Tectonic Edge.
And here is another Squadron Hawk I'm going to be going
Yes,
that.
seems likely. Oh, what is that? That's Azure Mage, yeah.
Azure Mage is not bad.
That is another card that I'm excited to start seeing play. And
was it definitely a Terramorphic Expanse? You're correct.
Was it an Evolving Wilds?
Could be either.
Yeah,
we got both
pretty sure it was
list.
Evolving Wilds. Doesn't really matter.
One of the two. One of the two.
Yeah. So Azure Mage is I think I remember talking about it a bit, being a possibility in control decks because of comes down early. It's a nice little 2-power 2-drop, but draws cards late.
Rampant growth.
We saw some of the Caw-Blade players at Nationals, including LSV, playing Azure Mage, I believe, over Jace Beleren.
The ability to dodge Spell Pierce is very valuable.
Yeah, with the Rampant Growth.
And being able to drop it down. I was actually talking with the Azure Mage.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you're playing in the Caw-Blade Mirrors, that was a really great piece of technology.
Didn't you just say it dodges... Oh, I see what you mean. Dodging Spell Pierce. Okay, got it. For some reason, I thought you were talking about the Rampant Growth that Kenny just played.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Because of the 2 mana he left up. All right, so Jim into the red zone with a Hawk and a Mage.
Azure Mage is a card I think is just really well designed.
Yeah.
We see
Big
activation
fan
of
of
the Edge to get rid of Raging Ravine, another land brought down, and another Hawk.
Jim being very aggressive. No mana open. Valakut, obviously, one of those decks that, as soon as the bannings happened, people started talking all about Valakut. It was all about Valakut being the top contender. And then the first event, I don't even think it placed in. It may have placed in the top 16, like one copy or something in the top 16, but just kind of was hated out because so many people were expecting it. But now that the metagame has adjusted a bit, it's found its place in the conversation. Of course, winning last week in the hands of Pat Cox. So Kenny adds an Oracle of Moldiah to the board while Jim is tapped out. Plays it. Looks like an additional land. Did he hit an extra land? I can't tell. I don't see the top of his library. Oh, that's right. That's why. That's because it was being shuffled. It was a Green Sun Zenith. That's what it was. Green Sun Zenith for Oracle. And there's a Valakut from Kenny. Passes back to Jim.
For your draft, Griffin Cadar and Robbie Crossman coming up to the main event stage for your draft.
Oracle can be so dangerous.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that were trying Solemn Simulacrum in the Valakut lists, but it seems like Oracle is just better. And it seems like a lot of more people are agreeing with that.
That has definitely become the consensus.
Yeah.
Glacial Fortress.
Yeah, Jim offering up the trade with the Oracle. Kenny not going to take it. Oracle and Azure Mage. Azure Mage not too much of a threat for Kenny at this point. Rather have that Oracle. So, right now on board we have Kenny Mayer tapped out with 3 Mountains, 2 Forests, and a Valakut, and an Oracle of Moldiah freshly on board off of a Green Sun Zenith. Jim Davis has 4 lands, which is, I believe, a Plains, 2 Seachrome Coast, and a Glacial Fortress, and 2 tapped Squadron Hawks, alongside a tapped Azure Mage, all of which just went into the red zone. I believe that Plains, is that from Tempest? Someone just asked on Twitter.
It looks like one, actually.
That Plains may be from Tempest. So, looks like Jim is considering an Emiria Angel here, but obviously does not want a Titan to hit the board. May not have an answer for a Titan, or maybe not an answer for a Summoning Trap if he's expecting Kenny to be playing those. So, goes with the aggressive plan, as he has been doing all game, and taps out for a Emiria Angel.
He's got to ask himself, what is he going to do if he doesn't just go aggressive? If he doesn't have the answers in hand,
yeah, there's,
you just have to push it down on the table and then, make a little bit of hope that it works.
Right. I mean, you can bluff an answer, but if they just call your bluff.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a deck that calls bluffs. It's not a deck that waits around oftentimes. It just is a deck that goes, cast the threat. Do you have it? No. And if you have an answer, Summoning Trap can come there too.
Exactly. So it's like, even if Kenny is like, okay, if he's got the counter spell, fine. I have a Summoning Trap. And right now is a great time to play a Summoning Trap, knowing that he has a Titan sitting on top of his library.
Sun Zenith for this guy.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Found that Titan in short order.
It's really nice that we're seeing cards like Green Sun Zenith actually being mechanically done correctly. Because when those cards were first seen play, they were in the graveyard a lot after being cast.
Right. Just, I think it's just a matter of getting used to things. When you're not used to cards that do that, you just have the habit of just, dropping your spells cast in the graveyard.
Primeval Titan does some quick work, killing the Azure Mage and killing the Emiria Angel with Valakuts. You now have 2 Valakuts in play. a ton of mountains.
Looks like, is that 7 mountains? Oh, 6 mountains he's got. Yeah.
A ton.
Yeah, that's enough.
Preordain wanting to get a Day of Judgment real quick.
Someone else comments that the that Plains is an APAC land showing the Great Wall of China. It's a little tough to see since we're only seeing half of the artwork right here, but
I would be willing, if they feel confident in that,
yeah.
I'll be willing to go with that.
Not gonna argue.
2 damage, knocking Kenny down to 9. And Day of Judgment, there it is. Kenny has 7 more Titans in his deck. Plus he's got
so
3
scary.
Summoning Traps and 3 Green Sun Zenith. He's got enough mana to Zenith for whatever he wants. So he's got plenty of potential cards here that could just take care of the Inferno Titan.
Yeah. Speaking of 7 more Titans, there's one.
Inferno Titan doesn't demand the answer the same way that the Primeval Titan does. It just demands it a turn from now. It gives you a little bit of extra time. That little bit being, like I said, a turn. I don't know. I don't know if it's that APAC
I don't think
land.
it's that. Yeah, now that I've got that that APAC Plains
I think
on
it's
my
the
monitor.
Cloudy Tempest Plains.
Yeah, I'm more confident that it's Tempest.
Okay, we got 5 mana being spent. Gideon. Gideon is going to demand that Inferno Titan attack.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's
This
Tempest.
this does buy a little bit of time again. Gideon will die for the cause.
I'm pretty sure it's that one.
Yeah, right there.
Right there. Plains number 326 of Tempest.
We see green. I bet they were going to see a Primeval here.
One of my other remaining
Summoning Trap.
several Titans. Or again, very likely to hit a Titan here. Got pretty good chances.
Let's see if it's a whiff.
Ooh, is it? That is an overgrown. That's pretty much a
Overgrown
whiff.
battlements.
I
Might
mean,
as well
that's-
be a whiff.
May as well. At least he does get something out of it, but still.
Highlighting one of the reasons that Summoning Trap can be a little bit disappointing. A mountain. Kills off Gideon, doing 9 damage to Gideon. And then Inferno Titan comes on in. We see a Preordain looking for something. Preordain finds nothing. Jim Davis scoops it up.
All right, so Kenny takes game 1 there.
Game 2, we're going to see 4 Flash Freeze, 1 Day of Judgment from Kenny. And I don't
Possibly a
know,
Torpor
maybe
Orb?
1 Torpor Orb. I think Azure Mage is not particularly exciting in this matchup.
No.
I think Gideon is not particularly exciting in this matchup.
Didn't do much there.
That's an easy 4 for me. I think you might see the
Did we
rest of
say
it stick
4
around.
Flash Freeze and a Day of Judgment and
Yeah.
a Torpor Orb? So if we cut 6, cut the 2 Gideons, the 2 Azure Mage.
From Kenny Meyer.
I wonder if you cut the Phantasmal Image.
You know, I still like the Phantasmal Image. You're talking about playing against decks with have Titans.
Yeah.
Going Phantasmal Image on their Titan can be a way to answer a prime. The Inferno obviously can kill your Inferno on the first attack before even blocks get declared.
Mm-hmm.
But like, sometimes all you need to do, because you're going to keep your Dismembers in, sometimes you can go Image, copy Inferno Titan, shoot their Inferno Titan for 1 and do 2 damage to something else, and then dismember their Inferno Titan.
Yeah.
So I think Image stays.
I can see that as a
mean, even-
line of play. What about Into the Royal?
Into the Royal, I think it's not terrible. It's not great.
Well, right. I think that's pretty much the Into the Royal's motto. Not terrible, always relevant, but not always spectacular. You know, it almost always has some sort of target, but bouncing. You know, what do you want to bounce? An Oracle? You know,
I mean, I don't
you don't
mind-
want to bounce a Titan.
I mean, I don't mind bouncing a Titan if I've got nothing better to do with it.
Right, but hopefully what you have better to do with it is something out of your sideboard.
Yeah, particularly if you're able to do something like this, right? The Titan comes down, you're like, ouch, that sucks. And you go into the Royal with Kicker at the end of the turn, hoping to find your Flash Freeze. From Kenny's side of the board, I think we're going to see... you know, I have not been a fan of Thrun versus the old Codex, but I have seen people run it.
Well, if he's expecting Day of Judgment...
Thrun's a good answer today.
Well, Thrun's a good answer to clean up after a day, sure, but I mean, it dies to Day of Judgment. No, wait a minute.
If you've got 2 mana up, and then you can survive.
Okay, right.
So if you tap out to cast your Thrun and they go day,
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
because you actually, if you're the other player, you do not like using your days. You want your days to be saved up to get rid of Primeval Titan, to get rid of Inferno Titan.
I keep shortcutting Day of Judgment to Wrath of God, and it's a relevant difference when it comes to Thrun.
I could also see Nature's Claim coming in. A lot of people like Nature's Claim as a means to answer the swords. But the thing is, a lot of times you want to be threatening them, not answering them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, if Sword of Feast and Famine is out, you really want to take care of it. We'll have to see what Kenny went with.
For those of you just joining us, I'm Joey Pascoe here in the booth with Adrian Sullivan. We're in Boston, or we're actually in Boxborough, but we're covering the Star City Games Open Series in Boston. We happen to actually be in the room as well, even though the Open Series is in Boston, quote, now. But yeah, covering the standard portion. We're in round 3, watching Kenny Mayer playing Valakut versus Jim Davis on the Call Blade. Kenny up a game.
Both of these players are... They're on the standing board when it comes to the open point standings. Kenny Mayer in 49th place with 31 points, and Jim Davis with 35 points at 40th place. A good finish here could vault them actually to within reach of the top 10. Not in top 10, but it could put them in reach.
Right. So I know yesterday we were talking about some interesting other decks that have been popping up here and there. We were talking about a mono green deck.
Oh, I love mono green. Kyler Fields is the first person I saw that did anything with this, and this was in I want to say Baltimore. No, not Baltimore. Not Richmond. Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, Kyler Fields Dungrove Elder deck. And since then, I know that Ari Lax took it to I believe a 9th place finish at the at the TCG Championship.
Yeah, I think it also showed up in a Japanese PTQ. I don't know if it won the PTQ. I think that's where I first heard about it.
Yeah.
The mono green deck. That'll be something we can maybe
I would
be on
love
the
to see
lookout
that play.
if somebody's playing that here today.
We talked about the illusion list already.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. As we mentioned, Griffin Corrigan is here. No word on whether he's playing the illusion deck again. So, all right, looks like Jim took a mulligan, so he's going to take a look at his 6 cards. I'm trying to tell if he double mulligan or not. Looks like he's good, and we're going to go to the game. So Jim's on the play. Plays an Inkmoth Nexus. Turn 1, passes to Kenny. And Kenny leads on a mountain, passes back. Inkmoth Nexus in for 1 off of a Seachrome Coast from Jim. Kenny is infected officially. Alright, adds a forest to the board, plays Rampant Growth. Gets a mountain. Wonder how far this Jim is going to take this infect plan. Looks like there he goes. 2 poison for Kenny. And island on Jim's side of the board now. Terramorphic Expanse from Kenny and passes back to Jim. Jim does have a sword now. which will be relevant if he, in a couple of turns, if he has the time to equip that to an Inkmoth Nexus, can really put on a fast clock. Glacial Fortress from Jim. And there's the Sword of Feast and Famine. So no attack from the Inkmoth Nexus, but Jim does leave 1 mana open for a Spell Pierce. Kenny has a Nature's Claim for that Sword of Feast and Famine. And cracks his Terramorphic Expanse to get a Forest.
So we do see the appearance of Nature's Claim.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a really reasonable card to bring in here. I have Nature's Claims in my board for basically just because swords are so dangerous. And
Also
that's
hits
any deck
Inkmoth
that's green,
Nexus.
you know, like... Yeah, it does hit the Nexus.
Which Jim has actually been using here, so. Preordain from Jim, after Kenny adds just another basic to the board and passes back. So not too much ramping going on from Kenny. All he's been able to do is just a rampant growth.
He's got the classic don't read my face cards to the side. I'll pick up my cards when it's my turn. Okay.
Yeah.
Or when I think about maybe wanting to do something.
Right.
Valakut, go.
Doesn't seem like Jim's able to take advantage of Kenny's slow start. Another Preordain from Jim.
Okay. Selects the card from the Preordain. I see a Flash Freeze in his hand amongst other cards. Might be 2 Flash Freezes. Passes the turn. Kenny Meyer does nothing at end of turn. Another Valakut. Brings him up to 7 mana. 2 Valakuts, 2 forests, 3 mountains. Tectonic Edge is not activated on Jim Davis' side. He draws and says go. No other effects. Leaving his Inkmoth at home, leaving himself completely untapped, 6 mana. A Verdant Catacombs from Kenny Mayer, 8 mana in play now. Jim taps. Preordain. Is that the 3rd or the 4th Preordain? It's quite a few Preordains. Sun Titan in hand, Flash Freeze in hand, maybe 2 Flash Freezes. Looking at the top of his library, it looks like an island. Am I wrong? Sword of Feast and Famine. And I think a land? Says how many cards? It is a land. Tectonic Edge. Says go. Kenny Meyer cracks the Verdant Catacombs. Kenny draws. 4th Forest. Taps 2 Valakut, 2 Forest, 2 Mountains, leaving and lays Primeval Titan. We're going to see a Flash Freeze from Jim Davis here. 3 mana back so that Mana Leak will not do anything. Flash Freeze. Perhaps we'll see a Summoning Trap. Rampant Growth instead. Gets another mountain. Leaves him with 5 mountains now. There are 2 tectonic edges here. Now remember, Summoning Trap does not have to be cast right away. So one of the things that's interesting there was not a tap-out moment for Jim Davis just to get rid of those Valakuts. If he did do that, it was possible, if Kenny Meyer has Summoning Trap, that he could do something right then. So we get a Jace from Jim Davis.
Interesting point. Yeah.
I expect we will see one of those Valakuts at least knocked down. Maybe not both of them, but I wouldn't be surprised by one of them. I see Flash Freeze, I see Sun Titan, and I think I saw a Dismember, but I'm not certain of that last one.
I couldn't tell. He flipped past it pretty quick.
And after just laying the Jace, he says go. There are 5 mountains now for Kenny, I believe. I need to recheck, but I think that's 5 mountains, 2 Valakuts.
Looks like it to me. There's a glare kind of keeping me from seeing exactly, but I believe you're right.
Another Titan, another Primeval Titan.
So this is, I would think, where you want to start tech edging those Valakuts. Okay, he's got a Flash Freeze.
Flash Freeze hits again. 4 mana back for Kenny Meyer.
Nice comment here. Jim hasn't been tech edging yet because he wants 8 mana to cast Sun Titan with Flash Freeze up. That may not be the plan anymore since he's just used a Flash Freeze, unless he's got another one, but he's already used a couple.
And Kenny Meyer just laid a mountain, and that mountain he laid actually is his 5th mountain. Tech Edge, untap. And now he can lay the Sun Titan, bring back the Tectonic Edge.
Yeah. One of the best interactions with Sun Titan, aside from the Phantasmal Image interaction.
Right. Sun Titan brings back Edge. Says go.
I believe, does he have another Flash Freeze in hand? I think he does. Was that the 3rd Flash Freeze of the game, I think?
There's a Inferno Titan. I think he just said wait.
Yeah, he did. Put his finger up.
Flash Freeze number 3.
There it is. Flash Freeze number 3. So he, scoops him up.
It up.
Yeah, I didn't know. Was Kenny empty-handed at that point? I know he keeps setting his hand down, so I keep.
He did not have much that looked relevant. I don't think. I don't think he was empty-handed.
There was a summoning trap. That's what I was. I feel like maybe Jim was thinking that too, if he has a summoning trap. But
okay, they go to their sideboards again.
Still, yes, active Sun Titans with tech edges around against Valakut. It's a pretty bad position to be in. Inferno Titan's about the best backup plan to that he could have had. And it's a pretty good backup plan.
Right.
But
totally.
But I can see, Jim had to counter that Inferno Titan or deal with it somehow. Flash Freeze was a perfect way. So going to game 3 here. Guys making a few changes in between games. For those of you just joining us, I'm Joey Pasco in the booth with Adrian Sullivan.
Hello.
Covering Star City Games Open Series in Boston. As you can see there on your screen, we're in the standard tournament today, and this is round 3. Game 3 between Kenny Meyer and Jim Davis. Kenny on how similar is this to Pat Cox's list from last week?
It's pretty similar. It's not 100%, but I mean, it's got 8 Titans.
Yeah,
and that's a big closeness.
It's the battlements. Battlements are the difference.
Yeah.
But it's very similar.
We run Colony Heart Garden, which I think he was Expedition. Pardon me, I'm not Garden, Expedition. Which I remember there was a little bit of gentle ribbing he was given by that, but I don't have a problem with that.
I think it's It seems like it does pretty well in Valakut. I mean, I have never
like it.
piloted Valakut myself. It's just not my kind of deck,
It's
but
not my kind of deck either. I've
played
never piloted
against
it.
Valakut a lot though.
Yeah.
So,
I know I'm always happy to destroy a Colony Heart Expedition before it gets its job done.
so of course, Valakut won last week, as we were saying, with Pat Cox, and Jim on the ever popular Callblade, which of course has fought through the loss of its 2 key players.
Who are those?
That would be Jace the Mind Sculptor and Stoneforge Mystic.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's fun. I mean, I compared it because being a kind of a fan of Callblade. I know. I mean, you know, that's.
I think
I know that's a
you and
controversial.
I have both been fans of the deck for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, being a fan of Callblade, I compared it to like watching an episode of Friday Night Lights or something where they, you know, they're trying to get to state championships and they lose like their 2 best players like mid-season, and they're like, "There's no chance we can get to state now," and they still fight through it and they still win.
You know, for those of you who were not all the way through that series, I hope that you don't mind him spoiling it for you.
I didn't
like
spoil
that.
anything. Every season they're trying to get the state champion. That's just like a regular episode on Friday Night Lights. That's a good series.
And for those of you who are watching Lost and haven't seen the end of that yet, also, he has the secrets to the end of that show as well.
That's right.
That he's threatening to share.
Newhart
So,
wakes up and it was all a dream.
It was all a dream. Jim Davis here, shuffling it up. I'm not sure what you change around. I mean, he didn't really show you anything other than the Nature's Claims. I mean, I wouldn't want to take out Sword of Feast and Famine, you know? Like,
No, I don't think you do.
I think you just run it and know that he has Nature's Claims.
Yeah. If he has it, he has it.
I don't think that Nature's Claim is enough to make you want to put in Mental Misstep, which is otherwise basically a dead card. So I think maybe he went and looked at his sideboard and shuffled some stuff around and then was like, well...
Maybe you don't change anything, so... Looks
maybe
like both players...
maybe you,
is
if
Kenny
you're on the draw,
Martin?
maybe you take out 1 Squadron Hawk or something. I mean, I don't know that that's true or not. I'm
I've heard
stretching.
that as an option, yeah.
I'm stretching here, you know?
I think Kenny's on a mulligan here. Jim won game 2 off of mulligan. Apparently there's music playing over there. You see Jim doing a little dance.
Getting our opening hands here. If you're curious why the green 0 underneath that 20, that is not the game count. That is in case of poison.
Yeah, well, it was relevant last game, and that's why it showed up. So, Kenny leads on a Valakut, and Jim leads on a Glacial Fortress. Mountain added to the Kenny side of the board. Jim plays Seachrome Coast? No, Inkmoth Nexus. Squadron Hawk. And
Second
Kenny with
Valakut.
the second Valakut, yeah. So,
Attacks for 1.
there's the sword.
Sword,
He
sword,
did
sword.
indeed leave those in.
I mean, I think you have to, but
Yeah, I think you do
when
too.
I was looking at him switching things out, I'm like, well, what is it? And we
Right.
see no green sources for Kenny Mayer. If he kept in his 2 lightning bolts, that's the only thing he can do to interrupt the sword from doing its work. And he's got flash freeze for it, even if that happens. Maybe he does not have a land though.
Yeah.
I don't think I see one.
I thought I saw a Tech Edge in his hand
It's
earlier,
like,
but
"Oh,
I
let's
could
put
be
it
totally
on.
wrong.
Let's see what happens. Oh, Kenny Meyer's like, sure it happens. He went for the slight little tricksy. Yep, I'm tapping my Valak. No, I'm not. I'll take 3. What am I discarding? Now this is the moment where you do not want to be in Kenny's shoes.
Yeah. I like his shirt though. He's got a Girl Talk shirt on.
No, I don't like Girl Talk. I think Girl Talk's way overrated.
I actually, to be honest, I actually think they're overrated. I like Girl Talk, but I don't think I'm not all woo Girl Talk amazing.
Right.
I'm kind of like I've heard these songs before. They're all
He
good
lays
songs.
a Jace Bellerin, activates at -1 ability, and draws a land, getting an island. But I mean, I'm right there with you. And Kenny, not drawing an answer, scoops it up.
Yeah, that was a pretty quick concession. I mean, I guess he was in pretty bad shape there, but I felt like, you know, you can play it out a little bit longer. Give us some,
I
something to watch.
I feel like I feel like he prematurely scooped in both games, honestly.
Yeah.